speak, but definitely some clouds and shower chances therein. But I'll outline your updated forecast in more detail in just a few moments. On our today's date in weather history, well, it wasn't this dry and wonderful back in 1981 on this date. In fact, the Jackson and London office both set total rainfall records that still stand today. Over 2.5 inches at the Jackson office, and in Floyd County, flooding that did several thousands of dollars worth of damages, and also claimed 2 lives of 2 people who were washed off or fell off of a bridge or bridges in that area. There was also rain and floods that continued to see 10 counties in eastern Kentucky declared disaster areas by the state. Today, however, it is certainly a case of sitting pretty. I'll tell you how long we can stay that way in just a few moments. Headlines tonight will include more on a McGoffin County man's case where he has been indicted and arrested on federal drug charges. Tonight we'll add the revelation into the situation with his 2 female co-defendants. We have some new records and information there. Also some information released today in regards to that inmate that was killed by the hands of another in the Floyd County Detention Center, and a look back at the most recent show, this time honoring the works of a local businesswoman at the Art Bar here in Sagersville. And we'll also give you a glimpse ahead into this month's show. And I've got a lot of other news and information to pass along to you tonight, and that will also, of course, include what's just a glimpse ahead, a teaser, if you will, in tomorrow's edition of the Sagersville Independent. Well, all the recanvases are over, and there were no changes in McGoffin County or any of the other counties that we are aware of in the eastern Kentucky area where recanvases took place. No changes, mind you, that resulted in any significant changes as far as the outcome, a vote here, a vote there, but nothing major. With that said, Kentucky's Attorney General Andy Beshear today announced what counties will be under a primary election audit, as is conducted by law. 6 counties selected at random for post-election audits in a drawing, and those are Bullitt, Jessamine, Owen, Powell, Rowan, and Scott counties. As he says each year, or they too, the Attorney General says these audits ensure a fair and equitable election process in Kentucky, and they go to supplement the work of our investigators and the work they did leading up to and during the primary election. So officials will now check election forms, interview county officials, and then present those results to grand juries, should there be any, for their consideration. The, of course, audit for the 6 counties, as is done not annually but each election cycle, has not turned up any significant irregularities now for quite some time. Well, of course, other incidents certainly have. With that said, we'll go ahead and begin right now. Our first story tonight, that of the inmate killed in the Floyd County Detention Center. Initial information was, of course, that only there had been a death. Now it's deemed a murder with another inmate charged and taken to the Pike County Detention Center. Not a great deal being released thus far, but we do know that the man to your left is Scotty L. Gibson. He's 23. He's from Prestonsburg. We know that Adam Potter is 29 from Prestonsburg. Potter is the deceased. Still trying to ascertain what exact charges they were actually both incarcerated on. I know Potter, speaking to some officials, has had a history of arrest related to drugs and theft, but Gibson is still unknown. We do know that he's been charged with murder, and an autopsy is pending on Potter's body. He was charged this morning, that being Gibson, after an investigation was began by Detective Jason Dials of the Kentucky State Police, Post 9. Now, he does say in a press release that there was physical evidence recovered in the investigation and statements from the scene that has supported the charge for murder. At this time, all we believe to have happened was a physical altercation between the two the night prior. At around 2 o'clock yesterday, it was when Post 9 received information of the inmate who had been injured from that altercation and taken to the Highlands Regional Medical Center and then pronounced dead there a short time later. Once again, autopsy reports are pending. They are holding the notification of the deceased pending the notification of next of kin. However, that has happened. Potter's body, once again, not back, and no preliminary data from the autopsy result as of yet. But Gibson does remain lodged on at least a count of murder. We're still trying to gather more, and we'll have that just as soon as authorities make it public. I'll be right back. Foothills Communications brings you the latest in fast fiber internet for home, business, or gaming. HD digital TV with DVR, pay-per-view, and all the favorite channels you're looking for, plus crystal clear communications. Customize your experience today and become a Platinum customer simply by signing up for FiberNet phone and TV, and save at least $10 off your monthly bill. The world awaits at Foothills Communications and foothills.net. While a McGoffin County man arrested just days ago on federal drug charges was arraigned the same day that he was taken into custody, 2 co-defendants will be arraigned this Friday, as has been reported by the United States District Court Eastern Kentucky Division. That after they are scheduled to turn themselves in to authorities. Federal records indicate that the courts have been notified that defendants Catherine Redlark and Tanya Owens, both of which I still believe are from Ohio, nevertheless are going to surrender themselves to the United States Marshals Service at the courthouse, the federal courthouse in Pikeville this Friday morning at or before 9:30, and that it's been ordered that they will be coming before the judge that morning, or that afternoon rather, at 3 o'clock, or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard, after turning themselves in. This is in relation to the federal indictment that was unsealed last week in their name and that of Sagersville and McGoffin County resident Daniel Porter. Now, the indictment, as I told you days ago, named Porter, Redlark, and Owens in a multi-count indictment of conspiracy to distribute or possession to distribute narcotics. Authorities alleging, per information that we've been able to gather, that Porter, taken into custody at his residence, is responsible for selling thousands of pills in the area over the course of several months, maybe longer, but that they went to his house on numerous occasions and made controlled buys and actually seized more than $46,000 in currency from him on September the 22nd of last year. And that was minus the $860 in buy money that they were able to seize. They also seized 20 firearms, handguns, rifles, and shotguns as well. Porter and the 2 women face up to 20 years in prison and up to $1 million fine on counts 1 and 2, unless there's a felony drug conviction, and those charges are enhanced. On count 3, which names only Porter, he faces not less than 5 years, but no more than life. So 5 years to life and no more than a $250,000 fine on that charge. The case is ongoing, but it does outline that on numerous occasions they either conspired or distributed Schedule II narcotics, other scheduled drugs as well, and the authorities were able to make controlled buys to support their evidence as such. As for Porter, he pled not guilty the day that he was arrested and arraigned that same day. He's also being detained per the federal authorities and has a jury trial set for July the 30th. And a lot happening and some new announcements on tonight's McGoffin Farm Bureau Community Calendar. A birthday gets it underway. The birthday wish, and I forgot to add the birthday music when I changed the background. Nevertheless, if you all sing, I will say the announcement. How's that? Happy birthday to Trenton Jenkins. This is a 4th birthday wish from Mom and Dad with a lot of love and from a lot of family and friends who love him dearly. Happy 4th birthday to Trenton Jenkins. Revival at the Bethlehem to Calvary Apostolic Church of God coming up this Thursday. That is tomorrow through Sunday, 7 p.m., Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, 11 o'clock Sunday morning. Special preachers during each day. Pastor Johnny Reed invites everyone to attend at the Bethlehem to Calvary Apostolic Church of God on Old 464. Revival starting Thursday. And the Licking River Cruisers Car Club are cruising into the Sagersville City Park this Saturday, 4 to 7. And they're having open house at the Sagersville Fire and Police Department across the street, which means free drinks and hot dogs. So can't beat that. It's going to be a nice evening for such an event. Nathan Stanley is going to be at the Battlefield Gospel Fest, and so are a host of other entertainers. That is this Saturday from 11 in the morning to 8 p.m. Bring yourself to the Battlefield Park on Route 7. Bring a chair, bring the family. Now, the event's free. The food, they will have some great concessions for sale, mind you, but the event in and of itself is free. Call 884-12 $22.74 if you'd like to set up as a vendor as well. And a Father's Day Pickin' and a Grinnin' event has been set for this Sunday, 7 o'clock at the Kearney Free Will Baptist Church. The Jackson family wishes that you will join them, and you bring the dads, bring everyone else in the family as well. And if you can, call them at Kearney Free Will, let them know you're coming, especially if you've got a big party. They'd like to have as many as possible, and they want to make sure they've got everything covered for you when you get there. A benefit in honor of Selden Auksher's second round of esophageal cancer, I believe it is, this Sunday, June the 10th at the Lloyd M. Hall Community Center. Any form of support and compassion for Selden Auksher and the family will be greatly appreciated. If you can help, call 884-8153. That's this Sunday, 2 o'clock. And it's Vacation Bible School time at Emmanuel Baptist Church on Pleasant Hill. It's this Sunday through next Thursday. Call 349-5264 or 4456 if you need a ride on the church bus. Vacation Bible School time at Emmanuel Baptist Church. And Class of 28, one quick reminder, your McGoffin County High School 10-year reunion, June the 16th. Family Day at the park starting at noon. The Ramada Inn for all the adults that night at 7. Go to or contact kship90@gmail.com or call 205-8142 if you plan on attending or have any questions. And call Paul Montgomery at 424-6302 if you have any questions or you'd like to help organize. The Masonic Lodge, with a lot of help from a bunch of contributing partners and organizations, are putting together this huge monster party for all of our special kids here in Sagersville, McGoffin County. And I mean, they're going all out with all the food and fun and games you could ever imagine. It's August the 4th, but they'd like to hear from you now. And if you have a child that plan on attending that day, well, they want to make sure that they have a head count, or at least, close to it. So call either way. Paul Montgomery, Paul Gumby Montgomery, that is. And call me, please, whenever you've got a calendar announcement. And those are free, and so are birthdays and anniversaries. We love to do them. It's just a part of being a part of our community that we so love dearly. With that said, we go now to other announcements for tonight's funeral services brought to you nightly by the McGoffin County Funeral Home. 77-year-old Jimmy Kennard of Monroe, Ohio, passed away on the 4th, formerly of McGoffin County. He was married to Mildred Potter Kennard, who survives. He's also survived as well by a daughter, Beverly Warren. Visitation is tonight. Services start tomorrow morning at 11, both from the McGoffin County Funeral Home. Burial will follow at the Kennard Family Cemetery following tomorrow morning services. 86-year-old Eugene LeMaster of Littorals Fork passed away this week. He's survived by his wife, Joyce Gamble LeMaster, sons Ronald and Timothy, daughters Melissa Manning, Penny Capitorta, Connie LeMaster, Betsy Carroll, Polly LeMaster, and Kathleen LeMaster. Visitation is this evening, and prior to tomorrow's services, they'll start at 1. Visitation and services from the Flat Fork Community Church in his honor. 70-year-old Jim Randall Patrick of East Maple Street passed away this week, survived by his wife Mary Wilma Bailey Patrick, as well as children Mary Beth Chapins and second daughter Jeannie Marie Porter. So visitation will be the rest of this evening and before services that start tomorrow at 2. Services tomorrow, I know, from the Fritz Church of God. Burial will follow at the Patrick Cemetery at Middle Fork. Joseph Brian Smithers, 33, of Sagersville, passed away last month in McGoffin County, the son of Jeff Smithers and Kathy Porter Smithers, who survived. He's also survived by his stepmother, Debbie Smithers, and 2 sons, Joseph Dominic and Joseph Kale, a daughter, Samara Avina Smithers, a brother, Jeffrey Smithers of Sagersville, and a sister, Ladina Smithers, as well as a host of friends and family, also including a stepbrother, Bob Coleman. A memorial service will be held in his honor this Saturday at 2 from There Is Hope Ministries on Route 40. 95-year-old Robert Cecil Arnott of Sagersville passed away yesterday. He was married to Ora Lee Arnott, who preceded him in death. Robert Cecil is survived by a son, James Francis Arnott, and a granddaughter, Avavian Deaton, and another granddaughter, Michelle Watkins. Visitation is after 5 o'clock tomorrow and prior to Friday morning's services from the McGoffin County Funeral Home. I do not have the time in front of me. I apologize, and arrangements have been made, as, of course, not indicated on your screen. But visitation after 5 tomorrow, services on Friday. We'll get that correction tomorrow. With that said, I'll be right back in just a moment. In other news, in some entertaining news, if you will, of the arts, local businesswoman and local artist Debbie Conley was the most recent featured artist at the Art Bar in Sagersville. A wonderful turnout, some driving as far from Michigan to see her show. Debbie grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and that's where she started drawing and painting, and that's where she went to the Huron High School. And that school, fortunately for Debbie, offered art classes including pottery and jewelry making and sculpture and fiber art, drawing and painting, and she enrolled in and took them all. And then after she graduated, about 10 years later, she came to Eastern Kentucky and continued her education at Prestonsburg Community College and earned a degree in art. She also then continued her studies at Morehead State, and from there kept experimenting with various styles and mediums, everything from portraits and oil to folk art. And her show was a sampling of a little bit of everything she has done, which is a whole lot of works.
In 1999, I opened the keeping room, and at that point, my interest turned to doing reproduction art, typically 18th century, 17th century watercolors. So I brought a little sample of some of those and a sample of things that I did back when I was in college, and took some courses here as well as in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And some of my reproduction rag dolls. I do woodworking also. So I tried to bring a little bit of the realm of art that I've done over the decades.
Of all of the pieces in the show, she described this one as being a product of a moment of inspiration, and one that kind of also took a life of its own.
A piece that I'm standing by is actually a reproduction of the original Manifest Destiny painting that I did. Once we moved to Kentucky in 1989, I was in my studio, and just out of the blue, I got inspired to go to my canvas, and I just took my hands in the gesso, and within 15 minutes I had a painting done. And it was all unplanned, and it was really sporadic, and I saw what it appeared to be. It looked to me like Christ, and so I took some straw and some dried hydrangea petals and attached to it. And I noticed once I displayed an uplight underneath it, it cast shadows that looked like a crown of thorns. And that original painting is at my mother's house. So for the show, I tried to recreate it. Of course, nothing quite compares to your original.
And nothing quite compares to Debbie's love of history and artistic stylings. She has for years reproduced 19th century cloth dolls. She learned to dye, spin, and weave wool and flax. She developed a love for 18th and 19th century watercolors and fractures, along with early style woodworking and wood carving. And she now even designs and reproduces her own watercolors in that style, and then frames them in her own handcrafted frames. And those watercolors, as well as her woodworking and other handcrafted items, are all distressed and aged to look like original period pieces, and are all part of her works that are sold in her shop, The Keeping Room, on West Maple Street in Sagersville.
We sell reproductions and antiques, natural soaps and essential oils, dried herbs, just an array of different things. So if you're down that way in the lower end of town, it's before you start up the Ivy Point Hill, just stop in. I'm open by chance or appointment. The phone number is on the large sign over the doorway, so stop in and visit with us.
And here's something of a different sort, but very unique and very interesting, and I suspect will also be a big draw at the Art Bar this month. They're featuring a group show, Dreams in digital works, if you will, created in a computerized format. We hope to have, of course, and we will have some information and highlights from that reception as well. It's set for, in case you want to go in person, on the 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. With that said, let's just save that for after your weather forecast, which is now. And which is still looking just quite marvelous. Lows tonight, 53, mostly clear, sunny, and working our way back up to low to maybe mid-80s for your Thursday, 84, maybe 85 if we push it. Friday we'll get close to 90. It's going to be a good couple of days to have a good couple of days off. I don't know anyone who doesn't wish that, or I don't know anyone who has that either. 89, 67 for your Friday. Sunny, partly cloudy is the worst thing you're going to see on Friday. And by the weekend, still upper 80s on Saturday, still looking pretty nice, mostly sunny. That will bring about our first real mention of any shower chances to the tune of 30% Saturday, 50% Sunday. Sunday's still kind of on the bubble. I'm hoping we might not see as many showers and as clouds as what's in the forecast. Could go either way at this point. We'll follow it and see. 84 and then 83 on your Monday. More clouds and shower chances. And that's going to be a trend. Clouds and shower chances right on from there through much of next week. Just a few moments ago, we pinned what is already a very long and growing list, mind you, of what's coming up in next week's edition of the Sagersville Independent, with just a few things that you'll find in tomorrow's front and center. Oh, what a career. Celebrating the career of Miss Dottie Fletcher. And we also received the input graciously from several of her students over her 45 years. Made for her, as we knew it would, a wonderful piece. More on federal drug charges levied against a Magoffin County man. I think another candidate or two for the list of candidates now, which is now growing for the November election. Another candidate for mayor to be added to that list. 7 Lady Hornets, first team All-American. The list goes on for our historical section. Progress as it was back in 1965, and how Royalton wasn't a city at that time, but we'll see just how far along it had come. Also, construction of an important but now non-working city utility component that is the subject of an ongoing situation and project here in Magoffin County, literally as we speak, and also a store being opened and then robbed by someone who drove off with a truckload of merchandise just weeks later. We'll have all of that and more in tomorrow's edition. Hope you pick one up. Hope you join us back here tomorrow night for more of Your News Today. Thanks for watching.